Hey, welcome to the Relentless Positivity Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Martin. Got a great guest today. It's Lynne Bowman. Lynne has done a little bit of everything in her career. She's been award-winning creative director, an advertising manager. She's been an actress, a makeup artist, a screenwriter, illustrator, legal journalist, television weather person. And then she switched it up a little bit, and now she's teaching people how to eat brownies for breakfast. Hey, Lynne, thank you so much for coming on.
I am so all about positivity, Joe. I love being with you. This is great.
I'm
Thanks.
glad you're here, and thank you for debuting this hat on the show. It looks great.
My
You got
spring lid, here it is.
Man, that thing is nice right there. So
Thank you.
let's just jump right into this. So over 30 years ago, you were diagnosed as having type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
You were a single mom. You had kids 2, 3, and 4 years old. And not only that, but you had lost your own mom to chronic disease in her 40s. So tell me what your mindset is at that point. So 30 years ago, you find this out. You got everything else going on. Where was your mind then?
Well, my mind was the way it is when you got a bunch of kids and and I was their sole support. So it was all about just moving forward, just keeping on my feet, literally. And so anything that was going to come in the way of me staying on my feet and staying healthy had to go. And the problem, though, Joe, was finding good information.
Right.
And this is not the first time I've said this, as you can imagine, but a lot of the last few decades has been a matter of doing the research and having the conversations and digging around to find out what the answers really were. And as many of us have found out, I just was reading an article this morning about gaslighting from physicians. If you are a woman or a person of color, we have especially a challenge to get good answers from allopathic physicians. It's tough because they tend to, if they are male particularly, they have in the past been dismissive about women's symptoms and people of color who express their symptoms. There's been a lot of discussion, and I like seeing this discussion about what is your relationship with medicine? What is your relationship with your physician? And of course, they are so burdened now by 15 minutes they've got with you. And that's it. So for me, it was always tough to get answers. And I would keep asking to get tested for diabetes because I had been told I had gestational diabetes, and I had been told that I would develop diabetes in my 40s. And so I started asking, I want to be tested for it. And I said, oh, no, you're not overweight. You're fine, kind of thing. And finally, someone agreed to test me. And sure enough, I was headed off in diabetic territory. So it's been an uphill battle all this time. But what we were told back in the day was keep your carbs down, keep your sugar down, keep your exercise up, and lose weight, which, okay, well, what's the way? Well, no, just lose weight. Okay. And back in the day, we were told a calorie is a calorie, not true. And we were told that men and women were the same about their weight. And so, not true. I mean, you can go through almost all of the lifestyle advice that was given to us back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And it just doesn't bear out when you look at the evidence, when you look at the research, the study.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was at the store the other day and they had some Snackwell cookies. You remember
Oh,
Snackwell?
God.
And they say, that was
Right.
you could eat the whole box because it was low fat, right?
That's right. Yeah.
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 So
So
that's
in all this time, we've been up against this secret enemy, which is the big food industry that is in business to keep us addicted to crappy food and addicted to sugar and Snackwells, whatever. And they don't care. Right. If you're healthy or not, that's your problem. They have shareholders to respond to, not patients. So it's taken us a lot of time. And I'm so happy to see just the past couple of years. I mean, literally 5 years ago or more, I couldn't get arrested for my sugar-free message. Nobody wanted to hear about sugar-free. It's like, no, thanks. Because I think everyone had this weird idea about, well, maybe it shouldn't maybe it's not a weird idea, but this idea about sugar-free just not tasting good, not being chemically okay, whatever. And we do now have really great sugar alternatives that I want everyone to know about, because literally you can make all the yummy stuff you want if you make it with the right ingredients, if you use nutrient dense food, if you use real food, whole food, and which Snackwell's was not.
Right. Yeah,
That's
absolutely
like
not.
the classic case of what you don't want to eat. And I like to tell people, well, anything in a box or in a bag that has a bunch of ingredients on it, no, probably not. You know, if you have to describe what this food is in 2 or 3 paragraphs, you know, it's probably not a good idea to eat it.
Right.
So I'm all about whole food, you know, real food, mostly plants, not too much, as Michael Pollan is famous
Yeah,
for saying.
absolutely.
But you can't really eat too much. That's the bright side. If you're eating good quality food, if you're eating real food, it's almost impossible to eat too much, because at a certain point, your belly just goes, okay, we're good, we're full, you know,
Yeah.
we've nourished ourselves. Whereas Snackwells and all those kinds of things, Oreos and Doritos and all the little things that were so, I'm going to say attached, but the real word is addicted. And I, again, I'm repeating myself, but you are addicted. If you are eating sugar, it is definitely, and the studies are all out there, it is as addictive, more addictive than heroin. So if I say to you, well, I'm going to cut back on my heroin, what would you say to me, Joe?
That's not that way. That's not how that works.
That's not how that works. You know, you need to drop that crap like a hot rock, right? And I mean, now, because every day that you live with this addiction, you're damaging your body. And so, but you can have sweets, you can have yummy food, and that's what my book is all about, is how do you eat happily, joyfully, well. And I'm a messy cook and I'm impatient. I don't like to measure stuff. I don't journal. I don't count calories, none of that. If you want to, great. And so many of us are kind of really in that groove, and we're not comfortable unless we're counting and journaling. If you want to, okay. But I am a granny here to tell you that you do not have to do that. You don't. Just stop eating crap.
All right. So you mentioned your cookbook, and
Yep.
you took 30 years of living on the border of being a diabetic and put it into this book. And you talked about all these sugar-free things. You don't have to go look for them. You look in this. It's a well done. It's put together beautifully. But I
Thank
have a
you.
question about that. So it's a cookbook, but it's
Yeah.
got a picture of why does it have a picture of a weasel in it?
Ha! You found it. So that
Yeah,
lets me know you actually read the book.
that's
I
right.
love
Yeah, I read
it.
it.
That's my little secret thing. Because, and it's in there. I did this book with a dear friend, a designer who, and I think she did a great job,
She
if I
did, for
say
sure.
so myself. It was very, very collaborative. Elise Huffman, and we had so much fun illustrating these principles that I talk about in the book. But the weasel came in because I tried to weasel out of writing the book.
Ah,
And
okay.
so she illustrated that for me. And but I got brought back in. I wrote it. Writing a book is a pain. A cookbook is a pain to
I
do,
bet. I bet.
because you got to account for everything. You have to measure everything. You can't make any mistakes. Otherwise, if you make a mistake, you'll have somebody in Detroit calling you going, I made this and I did the thing and it's wrong. I'm so sorry. So it's got to be edited and re-edited, and still, I'm sure there will be things I'll be hearing about that it's like, well, you didn't capitalize the thing that. um, it's hard work, yes, labor of love, and I knew I would never make any money on it. But everybody who actually purchases a book, what that tells me is they are invested in their own health. They have made a very small but significant investment in their health. They've made a decision not to die badly if they can possibly help it. And at the risk of being kind of grim, you're a guy, Joe, so I can tell you this. I think, and you're young, but so many guys think they're going to die in some dramatic, quick way, like something cool. They're just going to fall over sometime. They're going to jump out of it or something, or the building is going to, or the thing is going to blow up. And if you just think about it for a minute and look around, that's not how people are dying. 85% of us have a chronic disease. And those chronic diseases you could probably argue with me about it, but it's a big number. We are a country full of people who have made ourselves sick with food. And it's the food that we're attached to. It's the food that we emotionally don't want anybody to take away from us. Says
that's a lot of those things. Yeah, a lot of those foods are in your book. It's just a healthier version of it. So
that's right.
Give kind of some examples, because I mean, you think about it. I mean, donuts, brownies, cookies, muffins, pancakes, all the things all of in there. They're all in there. So let me ask you this. I know they're probably like a favorite child or something like that, but do you have a favorite recipe in the book?
Well, I have a couple. Of course, the one that's on the cover, brownies, because who doesn't love a good brownie, right? And it's so simple, Joe. And it's a thing that any 8-year-old, any grumpy 85-year-old, anybody can make this. You make it in one bowl. The difference is you're using nut butter, no little cinnamon, baking soda. That's about it. It's an egg, either real eggs or egg substitute. I talk about both. Encourage you to use either one. Mm-hmm. But it's so simple. And these brownies, you can make them a little cakier if you want, or a little gooier if you want. But I guarantee you, they are as good. And I could slap those puppies down on any church supper table in this country. And I would have ladies coming over to me going, "Oh, Miss Bowman, I thought your brownies were just the best. I thought they were just so good." And I would have to at some point say, "Well, Mrs. Johnson, they were sugar-free." What? They didn't have any flour or oil. Well, what was in them?
You bringing out the Southern accent from California is pretty impressive, by the way. I gotta give it to you.
I lived in North Carolina for 9 years.
It shows.
In the country. Okay.
Yeah, you know your way around the accent.
So I had a deep exposure to that, and I had lovely neighbors who helped me through a rough time. So yeah, but you've been to a church supper, I betcha.
Oh yeah.
And you know how competitive that is. You know what goes on there.
Yeah.
Throw down that casserole on the table.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a whole table just for the desserts. You gotta be serious.
Right. That's right.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but tell me about some tips for cooking with kids and grandkids. I know that's something that you're passionate about.
I am, and it's so simple. Kids will eat what kids grow and what kids cook. Boom.
There you go.
So first of all, I want you growing food. Little bit, at least something, and you can do it in little pots, you can do it in small way, you can do it in little raised beds in your yard, but if you're going to eat well, one of the best things you can do for yourself is just grow some stuff, grow some greens, because you go out and you grab them and you bring them in and you cook them. It's fast and easy, and that way who peed on it, right?
There you go.
You go. And that it's fresh, and that you didn't put poison on it and all that other good stuff. And plus it's fun, and kids love growing stuff. They love seeing their seeds turn into plants and love learning which plants do what. So there's that. And then, if you're not cooking with your kids, you are really cheating them from learning the most important life skill, feeding yourself. What is more important than that? I mean, I can't come up with anything. Is it baseball or Mandarin or, what?
Yeah.
Kids need to learn kitchen skills. And then I will also argue with you that kids need to learn table skills. They need to learn to hold their own at a table. And I've heard parents tell stories about kids' friends who don't know how to use utensils. They've never used utensils in their darling little lives because they are eating out of a bag or a box all the time. It's little chicken bits, it's pizza, it's convenience food that is not only wrecking their insides, but they are missing this whole piece of their education, which is table culture, kitchen. And it goes along with conversation and relationships and a bunch of stuff that if you are eating in your bedroom, if you're eating pizza in front of a screen alone in your bedroom, you're missing out
Right.
on a lot. And not just nutrition. There's a whole kind of a spiritual side to it. There's a communion and a community that you've completely missed that way.
That's right. I want to share one of your quotes right here that kind of
Oh,
goes along with this right here. So it says,
okay.
"There is a holiness about home. If you want to do good out in the world, start at your kitchen table." So I think that's exactly what you're talking about. Kind of
That's
touch
it.
on that a little bit. What more do you need about that?
Well, what more? I mean, I don't know if you can see me, but I've got a table behind me, which is not my kitchen table, but there's certain things that only happen with food at a table, with some drinks of beverage of your choice. But I do a lot of community work, and I know you're involved in your community too. And this kind of thing can only take place when you're sharing food and sitting at a table. And when you think even about politics on an international scale, there's certain things that happen when people eat together, that only happen when people eat together. And even you can think in every religion you can think of, there are rituals that involve feeding each other. And that's important. It's important to think about that. And it's important to think about thinking of your home space as a holy place, an important place that is worth keeping nice and tight. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be glamorous. Mine is, of course, but
Of course, of course.
um, it just needs to be shared with people, and that you don't have to love all of them. Hopefully you like a lot of them, but I don't know if you know Paul Thorne or not. He's one of my favorite singers,
Yeah,
but you don't have to like everybody you love. Right?
yeah,
When I also love his line, and this is so apropos for us. Everybody looks good at the starting gate,
sure you do. Yeah,
right? And I like that one because I think, you know, if you can still sit here with me when you're in your 70s and 80s and talk about health, now you're an expert. If you're in your 20s, 30s talking about health and life and long, you're not an expert.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's the people that impress me. I mean, if you're in your 20s in great shape, that's awesome. I like that. But if you're in your 70s and 80s, you're still working circles around people in their 20s, that's what I'm talking about.
that's right. I can do a plank, honey.
That's what yeah, yeah. So look, since you brought it up, people, if they're watching this, first take a look at Lynn and take a guess how old she is. I'll give you a second. And then Lynn, tell the people how old you are.
I just had my 76th birthday, and I'm very happy about that. Every day that I'm breathing, right?
It's a good day. Yeah. So
It's a
you're
good
76.
day.
So what do you do? What is your workout? What do your workout consist of?
Well, I'm glad you asked because it's such an upper, I feel very privileged to no longer have to be working my rear end off all day, every day to support my children. I now have the freedom to go and work out 3 days a week with a little neighborhood gym, a wonderful trainer. And we do Pilates, we do TRX. So we do mat work, all kinds of things. She's a great trainer. She does not let us off the hook. She is making us sweat, but it's such a great way not only to keep your body going, but to keep your friendships and your social life going. If you're working out with these folks, there's a sweet place for that friendship where you're in your sweaty clothes and your nasty baseball cap and so on. So I love the girls I work out with. I love my trainer. I highly recommend it. And your clients, I'm sure, are lucky people, because trainers tend to be loving, caring, wonderful people who can really get you healthy. And what a gift.
Yeah.
So
So,
I'm all about that, and I love it. And I have a treadmill right here, and I have places where I walk in the community. I live near the beach and near a marsh, and right at the edge of the redwoods. So I'm lucky that I have these lovely places to walk. But almost everybody, and if you don't have them, get out there in your community and make a big fuss about how walkable your community is or is not. It's up to us to reclaim our space from the automobile. And it's time we did that.
that's awesome. Yeah. So I tell you, you look great. You have great energy. That's how most people should shoot for, right? Not the Instagram models that are out there in their 20s. They got it easy. You've done it the hard way, done it the right way. So you talk about sometimes resetting your relationship with food. So
Yeah.
I know a lot of people need to do that. Where do they start? How did you start resetting that relationship with food?
I always talk, Joe, about just making a decision, because to me, and so much of my life has been about business, and goal setting and all that sort of thing. But it begins with you really honestly making a decision that you need to change something. Because of course we all know the old saw that it's dumb to think that you can keep doing the same stuff and have a different result. No, if you want a different result, you have to change what you're doing. But it begins with you really, really making a decision. And the reason you do that, I'm not sure why. In my case, it was largely about my kids. I was not going to leave my kids, and they needed me, and I was going to be there for them. So I don't know what your motivation is going to be necessarily, but here's a couple I'll try on you. One, if you do not take care of yourself, someone else is going to wind up taking care of you. And you will probably be one of the 85% of the bankruptcies in this country are because of ill health. It will not only take your energy, it will not only take your body, it will take all your money. So as you're planning in your life to have a good life and to bump up your, whatever it is, your career aspects, whatever, remember that this instrument of yours, it's the only one you have, and it is your health and your wealth. So whatever it's going to take to get you to that decision point, then after that decision comes resetting your relationship with food, which is to begin to think of your food not as a coping mechanism. So many of us turn to food as comfort when our food is meant to be our fuel. And yes, it should be yummy, and yes, it should be beautiful and all this, but you need to really think about what you have been getting out of your food. Because if you've been getting overweight, if you've been getting low energy, if you've been getting other negative things, that's not really the comfort that you want, is it? And so you just need to do an honest reckoning about where you are with your food and where you want to be with your food. And of course, you're part of it, getting people moving, that's huge. But it's three or four things, Joe. It's the movement, it's the food, and it's sleep.
Oh man, the missing element for a lot of people. But
It's missing for
I
so many
yeah,
people. And and it's all related, right? We're one system. We're not like three or four or five or 10 systems. We are one system. No matter how doctors talk about it, no matter how books talk about it, it's all connected. And your food absolutely affects your sleep, and your exercise affects your sleep. But you cannot heal unless you are in deepest sleep. So every time you've got any kind of a little insult to your body, whether it's a stomach thing or a tooth thing or whatever, think about it. You have to be in deepest sleep to have these cellular processes take place to heal you. And even if you've done a really, really intense workout with Joe, you need to heal from that. Your muscles need to recover from that, and they must have deep sleep to do it. So missing sleep is a also epidemic in this country. So we have the food mess that's epidemic, and then we have the sleep mess that's epidemic. And you're doing your part with the movement stuff, which is great, but it takes all of it to really put somebody in good, workable, if not peak health. It's all one system.
yeah. Well, I think you nailed it in the beginning. You can just decide. You're allowed to just decide to make a new decision in your life, and
Yeah.
you don't have to make this big sweeping change. It doesn't have to be giving up every bit of sugar on day one. You can
Although
slowly
I hope you
integrate.
will.
Yeah,
I want you to.
that's the goal, right?
Yeah,
But it doesn't have to be these huge. These people think a lot of people think about change. They think about how to turn their life upside down, when you could just go for a walk tomorrow, or you could just
absolutely.
cook one healthy meal. You could
Yeah.
start there and
And
snowball
we
from there.
all backslide.
Absolutely.
We do. But if you pretty consistently every day just up your game a little bit, um, and I love telling people, explaining it, because people say, well, don't you crave sugar? Don't you just get up in the middle of the night and go, God, I really want, don't you crave pizza? Your body changes. When you change your habits, your body chemically changes. So in 3 weeks, I'll just do that as a sort of an arbitrary number, but 2, 3, 4 weeks, let's say 3 weeks, your saliva has changed chemically. It happens that fast. And you will no longer taste things the same way you did 3 weeks ago. So have faith in your body to thank you and catch up with you and go, all right, that was some arugula I just ate. That was some cabbage I had.
Yeah.
That was real good. And I'm responding to it. And if you do, and I highly recommend that people cut out dairy, which is shocking to some people. But if you want to choose cutting out dairy or cutting out sugar to begin with, and then just add something. But it's not about what you cut out. That's not the exciting part. The fun part is what you're going to add. What you're going to be getting that you haven't been getting is fantastic. And that's a lot of flavor and color and pleasure that you will get from your food that you're not getting now. You're just porking it down. You're eating the same stuff over and over again. I know. I see you
Yeah. Oh,
at 11 o'clock in front of the TV. I know what you're doing.
yeah. I mean, a lot of us do. We just go on autopilot. It's just what I do. I don't think about it. I mean, I just get used to feeling bad, used to feeling tired, used to feeling, not wanting to work out. It's like that. It's hard to make changes. So that's great that you can be that inspiration to someone that can be there. So let me ask you, so there's probably someone listening right now that they've probably given up. They don't feel good, they don't know where to start, and they just kind of feel hopeless. What would you say to that person?
Buy my book.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
my book right now.
yeah.
And I say that because this is a one-to-one message. My book is very personal. And I'm not a medical, and I'm not a researcher. I'm a grandma. And I wrote the book as if you were sitting across the table from me and I was shaking my finger at you in a darling way. I mean, I'm not picking on you exactly, but I want us to level with each other. And people, we tend not to be terribly honest with each other about a lot of these things. Um, but when it comes to your health, being dishonest is not going to get you there. And without your health, you you don't have much else. I
Yeah.
mean, so
Nothing else matters if you don't have your health,
no,
right?
let's fix this. Let's fix this. And the good news is that the cure is fabulous. I mean, it's not a medical cure. It's a cure with strawberries and blueberries and blackberries and brownies and I mean my pumpkin pie, is fantastic in here, and it's good food. I'm just trying to get you to expand your horizons a little bit and explore some things that you might not have been eating. I mean, I just sent a mail. And by the way, if you go on my website, lynnebowman.com, there's a list there where you can sign up, and I send you not a bunch of stuff because I'm too lazy. I don't want to do it all the time. But when I have a great recipe that maybe isn't in the book, or an addition to the recipes in the book, something, another tip, I send it out every week or so. And last night I sent out one about pesto, which you're not, have you made pesto, Joe?
Never made my own. No.
All right. It's time you did.
All right. I need to sign up for your what? I need to sign up for your emails.
Yes, because pesto is this amazing, fragrant, delicious thing. I call it green goo. And it's a way that you can use all kinds of different dark greens chopped up with garlic, with Parmesan or cheese-like substance, with a little bit of good fresh olive oil, salt, pepper. What am I leaving out? Lemon. And it's just heavenly. And it goes on soup, or it goes on pasta, or it goes on your eggs, and it's green. It's intensely green, which you know what that means. It is doing your body so much good. Every bite of it that you take is fantastic. Easy to make, lasts in your fridge 2-3 weeks in a little jar. Your friends will be so impressed. It's like, you made that? You can make that? Yes.
Oh
All
yeah.
you need is I have a little mini food processor that I use for everything. So easy, so fragrant, beautiful on the plate, absolutely delicious. And that's so just that one thing, learning how to do that, just one thing can have all these great reverberations around your social life and your kitchen and your fridge. It's not hard. It's easy. Soup. I have all these great soup recipes. So simple, like 3-4 things. My mushroom soup, I swear, you just have to try, and you'll go, oh my God. Because, okay, here's the secret, and you're in the South. It's just mushrooms, onions, broth, a little bit of olive oil. You cook down, you put it in the blender, and then you add a little bit of whiskey. I'm telling you.
Well, there you go.
And you can just pretend like you've been making this all your life, and it's just, you're a real chef, and so it's so easy. You don't have to tell everybody how easy it is. And mushrooms are excellent food. A lot of people go, mushrooms, really? Mushrooms are such excellent food. And anybody who's ever eaten one of those green bean casseroles that you do at Thanksgiving, that's full of mushrooms. You love that. Well, wait till you make it yourself this way with the whiskey. I mean, I promise you, it's great.
I mean, the whiskey seems to
It's
be the key.
cheap.
Yeah.
It's also cheap. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Because food prices gone up, right? And by the way, when there was a big run on the grocery stores and the pandemic and oh, the shelves are empty and so on, in the produce department, shelves were full. There was plenty of celery for everybody. There was lots of spinach. That was never a shortage. But the cost, I mean, we're all thinking about it because restaurants, gone way up. I mean, even the fast food that I'm having fun with and saying, quit driving through. You cannot drive through. I mean, without spending a fair amount of cash these days. And the other night, I mean, I was sort of celebrating. We were feeling like maybe the pandemic was in a better place and everyone was vaccinated and people. So I had 3 people here. There were 5 of us for dinner, and it was good. It was really good. But it was one of my simple dinners. It was a pasta and a salad, and everyone had plenty. And the whole thing for 5 of us, including a pretty decent little Pinot Noir, $30.
Wow.
Now, where can you go and eat a gourmet pasta and a beautiful fresh salad and have a beautiful Pinot Noir for $30 for 5 people? But
Only
in your own,
just Lynne Bowman's house, as far as I know.
but in your own kitchen, you can do this easily. And that's my book. It's not expensive stuff. It's not fancy. It's ordinary. It's macaroni and cheese is in there, but it's good. It's really good.
That's it. You wait. They're going to be calling me Pesto Joe by the time we talk again.
There you go. Well, I can't wait for you to try it.
Yeah, that sounds real. I love pesto, so I gotta make my own. I'm gonna impress my wife so much.
Is going to be the best ever. And just the smell of it when you're grinding it up. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
wonderful.
Man. This has been awesome. I encourage anybody out there to go get the book. You can get it on Kindle, but I recommend getting the real deal. Lynne said you want to put it up in your kitchen because the pictures are beautiful. That's half the book right there. And it's got a great story. It's not just cookbook. It's Lynne's story, Lynne's advice on, hey, what are these fake sugar or the sugar substitutes? What can I use? It's got everything in there. It's a great book. It's on Amazon. There were limited copies. One of my clients just bought one, said there's 16 left. So you better get on it.
That's BS, by the way. It's BS. They're printed on demand. They will have as many as you want. But also, if you want to buy it from your independent bookseller, and we all want to support our bookstores, just go in and ask for it. And if they say, oh, no, we don't have it, please, for me, here's a little thing I want you to do. I want you to go, what? It's blowing up. This is a fantastic book. You don't have it? You got to order it. They will. They can get it from their wholesaler, Ingram Spark. No worries. And that's a perfectly swell way to get it. And I would encourage you to do that for me. But it's also, Amazon has plenty of them. It's fine.
It's called Brownies for Breakfast. Yeah. You got to go check that out. Great book. Lynne, thank you so much for coming on. This is some life-changing information right here.
I hope so. That gives my life meaning. Thank you.
Yeah, but I'll link all that in show notes, your website, the link to the book and all that good stuff so they can follow you and go get those tips from your email. But hey, Lynne, thank you so much for coming on. Anything else you want to close with?
Oh, I got so much. I'm a granny. I could just go on and on until you fall asleep. But it's not going to change unless you fix it.
That's it.
Whatever, and there's nothing that you do that's more important for yourself, for your kids, for your parents, for your community, for the earth. By the way, all that we're talking about, everything healthy that you do for you really reflects in reducing pollution, a lot of other things to make your community better. So it's all good.
All right, Lynne, well, I got to go get my ingredients for my pesto, so I'm going to head out and get that. Thank you so much for coming on. You guys go get the book, Brownies for Breakfast, and we'll talk to you later, Lynne.
Thanks.